August 30th, 2016. You're looking at the latest NOAA satellite images of the Atlantic. You've got TD9 that we've been watching right in the center. You've got the low pressure area off the coast of Texas. And you've got Tropical Storm 8, of course, Gaston. We've got a very strong wave coming off the African coast. We'll move over to Mediasat and take a look at that before this is over with. You can see the tracking of Gaston and TD8. You see that low pressure forming just off the North Carolina coast. It looks like a lot of rain is going to continue to pound you guys along the Carolinas, Georgia coast. And if the models hold true, what will probably by 2 o'clock this afternoon be a tropical storm, TD9, that's going to rake that east coast too. So we talked about that. Now, even the meteorologists on the Weather Channel are starting to talk about this, the rotation there in the Gulf is starting to pick up, and it's going to pull in the rain bands. Again, I hope that I'm wrong on them underestimating this storm, but what's happening, guys, it's moving due west. Now, what that means is that it's going to linger longer in the warm water. Think about it. It's not moving north. It's moving west. It's moving slow at 5 miles an hour, giving it plenty of time to build up energy. And these things can change at the last minute. This, you're looking at water vapor images, and you can see the drier area that's in the brown. Now, you've got that large section below Gaston in the Atlantic, and you've got a small section that's slowly being pinched out by the two different systems in the Gulf of Mexico. See that squeeze play on that dry air? The Gulf is about to fill with moisture, and these storms that are here will have plenty of energy. We're also getting a westerly shear now, not an easterly shear, and there's a front that's coming down as Tropical Depression 9, you see it off the Cuban coast moving west. As that moves up and across the panhandle of Florida, guys, that's going to meet a front that's coming down, a cool front that's actually going to have this thing getting stronger as it moves over Florida back out into the Atlantic. Now, this is Mediasat, and we're looking at the African coast. And this is the storm that has been predicted to hit the U.S. coast on 9/11. We've been talking about a couple of days, and now it's off the coast. It's starting to rotate, and it's got a very large wave out in front of it. It could set up to be a very powerful storm. Some of the models show it moving straight into the Mexican peninsula there in the western Gulf. Some show it coming into the east coast. It's too far out to tell now. We know that. We've been watching these now for 11 days. But that could be something to watch, and we'll keep an eye on it, guys. We'll look at the different models of TD9, and we're seeing a slight change. Now, this is the GFS model. It's the precipitable water and mean sea level pressure. And there's the current location of TD9. Now, notice the circles around it. That's your sea level pressure, and they're not real close together like you're seeing Gaston. That tells you that it still has not wrapped around and is not that strong yet. You're looking at just over 1,000 millibars, and we're going to go through. Notice your timestamp in the bottom right. Now we're at September 1st. You're seeing a lot of rain go over Florida, but the center of circulation is still in the Gulf. Now, I'll step these images through, and you can see how long it's taking it to actually come ashore as far as the center circulation, and as long as that's in the water, it's going to be strong. But here, you're September 1st, guys. The edge of the storm is touching the coast, the center of circulation, and I think that's going to get a lot stronger than it is now. Step it through, there's September 2nd. It's moving back over. Notice how, even in the GFS model, it continues all the way up the east coast. Now you have a separate system coming in under it. See, and that is of September the 11th, 9/11. Right there, you've been raked by TD8. Whatever happens to TD9 is coming that way, and then this larger storm's coming. So just the next 2 weeks, you got to keep your eyes on this. Everything's going to change, but this GFS model is matching now closer to the Canadian model, the CMC. Check that again and let it rotate through. Notice your moisture. But this front in the yellow line right there, they say that's going to strengthen the storm because of the upper level shear is in the right direction. And when you have cool air colliding with warmer air, it makes all storms stronger. So don't forget that. Now, by 2 p.m. today, they're showing this going into tropical storm status. Notice the timestamp: Wednesday at 2 p.m., Thursday, 65-mile-an-hour winds. Check that out, guys. That's not a couple of days away. Also notice that by Saturday it's back over the Atlantic, guys, but the other models are not showing it go straight out into the Atlantic. It's kind of raking that East Coast. Remember that. Now, we've watched the different models, and this one is the CMC model, and that's showing today that it's moving a little closer back to the Pensacola area. Guys, it's moving slightly west, and these things can change very fast. And if anybody down in the Alabama, Florida panhandle, if you remember, Ivan was tracking more to the west. It curved back east at the last moment. It caught a lot of people off guard. A lot of people lost their lives because of that. Now, this is the CMC model from Canada. That's the one that follows that purple line that we watched. And now notice this one is, again, raking the entire East Coast. It matches the GFS model. Same timestamp, but it's moving just a little more to the west than the GFS model, and that puts it more dangerous towards, again, the Pensacola area. We'll have to watch this thing starting at every update. If you have interest on the coast, you live there, you have property or friends and family or anything like that. But by tomorrow at this time, we'll know more about the storm. Once it kicks into gear, it will rapidly develop because of the temperature there. So again, here's your track. Notice that. Notice where this right front quadrant is. It actually reaches from Mobile Bay, guys, back towards the east, towards the Big Bend area. Now that it's showing the center circulation here, putting that right front quadrant further south, but it could change very quickly. So all we can do is watch it at this point. And also, guys, in the Pacific Ocean, Hawaii's under the gun. It's an impressive storm system. That's a double storm system. You got a Cat 1 that's about just come north of the main island. You got a Cat 2 following that's going to come south of the main island. And that's going to put the right front quadrant of the Category 2 storm, the second one, right into the main island. Both are going to generate massive waves. You guys there know that how quickly the islands rise out of the sea, and that just throws the waves and makes them higher. That's why they love to surf there. But again, let's look at NOAA wind speed, and you can see Gaston in the center, and you can now see that TD9 in the Gulf has got a closed loop circulation. Small storm just on the Texas-Mexican border also has its basically the center of circulation still over warm water, so you're going to continue to get moisture pumped in down again right just north of the Mexican border there. But we got to watch this. 65-mile-an-hour sustained winds is nothing to play with, and it may not stay that. It would have to go to 74 to become a Category 1 storm. We're watching it by the hour now, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe.